Hey guys, and welcome back to another What If video. Today we're doing part 3 to What If Female Naruto was a Uchiha. And before we get into this, there's some of you who have watched the Minecraft live stream that I did Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. Saturday/Sunday, because I went into Sunday. Anyway, that I did. Some of you will be, going like, hey, didn't you say you was going to upload a, what if Luffy was a girl, or trying it? Well, I did somewhat try it and realised 14 minutes in that, yeah, I really can't. I can't. I really can't do a Luffy. Well, not exactly Luffy, just a, well, maybe not a, I just don't think I could just do that type of what if on One Piece, though that may eventually become a what if on One Piece, but yeah, that would be far down the line. Anyway, and also if you want a recap on what happened in part 2, you can go and watch it. And if you go back and watch part 2, or you go to the comments and go, hey, there's only one person saying that I should get a better mic, well, obviously there's 17 likes. I am going to continue this slightly from the views and from the likes, because that's what I base myself off of. If nobody tells me they want a part 3 or 4 or 2 or whatever. Yeah, anyway, so let's get into this what if. And also, this is probably going to be short because, yeah, it's going to be, well, it's already late anyway. So, yeah. So, she somewhat, after a couple of minutes, she'd hear a knock at the door. She'd open it and see all of Minato, all of her armed guards, or her previous armed guards that used to watch over her when she wasn't a genin. Once she became a genin, a official genin, meaning she had passed the the second test, which was to pass, obviously, their Jonin Sensei's test, whatever that may be. Because she had passed that, she was now an official genin. As such, she didn't need armed guards no more. And so her guards, which was Minato's guards, obviously went and started, I think, doing just security around Konoha, pretty much. Though they told her before they'd left, if she ever experienced a burning sensation in the eyes, to come and tell them, and they would tell her what that burning sensation in the eye was, and who her mother and father was. And yeah, and of course, when she'd found out she was the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, she'd somewhat, was angry at them, though they'd also told her that when finding out her parents, they would have also told her that she was the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, as somehow the Nine Tails played a role in that. Well, it did, because obviously Hiruzen had told her countless times that the Nine Tails killed her parents, but it was more in the line of the Nine Tails, or at least Minato died because of the, Minato would have died either way, because he had done the Reaper Death Seal. It was pretty much the Reaper keeping him alive. Obviously, he probably would have died, obviously, seconds after being tied, but what do I know? So, yeah. Though yeah, and obviously, Kusano would have suffered a very painful death if it wasn't for the Nine Tails speeding up her death. So, whilst she did somewhat kill them, she just sped up their deaths. Their imminent deaths, not actually killed them. So, yeah, she never actually killed her parents. Anyway, so yeah, they want to invite them in and would go, and they'd sit in the living room as she'd go. So she'd obviously shut the door, lock it, and would go. And so I experienced the thing that you guys told me of the burning in the eyes, whatever that means to you guys, as they would look at one another and would look at and go, well, you know of the Uchiha clan, right? Yeah, my teammate Sasuke is a member of that clan. Why is that important? Well, you see, I guess firstly we should tell you who your parents are, then, the burning eye sensation. Should just go, okay. Firstly, your mother, as you have more or less probably found out by yourself. Yes, your mother is Kusano Uzumaki. You share somewhat of the same hair colour, though hers was a blood red, unlike yours, which is a ruby red colour. Is it somewhat just go, okay, but what about your father? Well, your father, funnily enough, you've somewhat always been always close to an image or an object of your father's. Well, not maybe directly of what your father had owned, but yeah, well, anyway, your father was Minato Namikaze, or otherwise known as Konoha's Yellow Flash, or the fourth Hokage. She'd go, you're joking, right? I would shake the head and go, no, we're not joking, Naruto. We're really not joking. Your father really was the fourth Hokage before he died. But how you died? Well, not how you died. How he died. Well, he somewhat did we can say this. The Nine Tails, what is the full say the third Hokage told you about your parents? The only thing he told me about them was that the Nine Tails had killed them. Well, that's wrong. It's wrong. Well, yes, because your father died by a sacrifice. He sacrificed his life, his literal life, his spirit, to seal the Nine Tails within you. He used a thing called the Reaper Death Seal. It summons the Shinigami, which would eat his soul. In response, the Shinigami would do one thing, and that was for him to seal the entire Nine Tails inside of you. And as such, obviously, the fox did attack your parents, and the fox was actually trying to kill you, but your parents had jumped in front of the nail, which had penetrated them, which had meant, your father was going to die anyway. So yeah, your father had died after that, and had died, I'm not really sure, but a couple seconds after. We're not 100% sure when he died, but yeah. And your mother, your mother was going to die from having the 9 tails ripped out of her. The only difference that it would have made if the nail of the 9 tails didn't go through her would be that she would have actually had a very painful death, as the Uzumakis are known as the only clan to somewhat possibly survive a extraction of a tailed beast. If it's weak enough, they will survive. They may not be able to use their chakra for a couple of days, but they would eventually be able to reuse their chakra. But if they're Jinchoki of the 9 tails, like your mum was, your mum being the second, you being the third, your mum's chakra system was pretty much destroyed. She was going to die, and she would have suffered pretty much. She would have went through hell for 7 days. But the 9 towers, because she jumped in to somewhat save you from the nail of the 9 towers, it sped up her death drastically, thus giving her a more humane way of a more humane death. So yeah, whilst the fox did somewhat rid you of your mother sooner, you still wouldn't really remember anything of her, and she would have suffered though if the 9 tower, if she did, and she somewhat just not go, but did. Yes, they loved you. I think I could safely say for all of us that there probably wasn't a day that your father, once he'd found out, he wasn't excited about becoming a father. He was always happy. He was, he practically ordered almost the entire army force. Well, he would have if it didn't mean, putting Konoha in jeopardy, in danger. Then he would have had the entire army force on her 24/7. But yeah, and obviously you're somewhat safe, though. Yeah, anyway, for the burning the eye sensation, your father told us before a day or two, I'm not 100% sure when, as it's been a long time since then, but he told us beforehand, or possibly even then, as I said, I can't really remember. All that I know he told us was that he was an Uchiha. He was an Uchiha from the Uchiha clan. Reason why you was somewhat never in that clan was because they disowned your father, or his mother and father did. Because, he was an orphan. He was an orphan at birth, and he'd find out his parents were somewhat still alive. And, of course, he was born. All Uchihas are born with black eyes, black hair. He was born with blue eyes, blonde hair. Though he had obviously spiky blonde hair. And obviously Uchiha somewhat have either spiky or long black hair, and just almost near black eyes. And as such, his parents probably didn't think that he would ever awaken the Sharingan, but he did. Though that doesn't really mean much. But what it means to you is that because he was an Uchiha, a full-blooded Uchiha, that means that you're half Uzumaki and half Uchiha. Which meaning you have the life force of an Uzumaki being able to live, to our knowledge, for at least 200 years, and the possibility of awakening the Sharingan, which we know you have from the burn in the eye sensation. So yes, in short, you're related to Sasuke, though I wouldn't exactly go gallivanting off and saying to everyone that you're a Uchiha. For one, you don't look like one, and for another, if you do, then a thing called the Clan Restoration Act could be imposed upon you due to the fact you being half Uchiha, half Uzumaki. The Uzumaki side of the blood, being a clan outside of Konoha, wouldn't be under those laws. But you obviously, if people find out that you're an Uchiha, they could put you under that pretty much Restoration Act, and as such, you would in theory be pretty much raped until you had a baby boy, which could then obviously bring back the Uchiha / Uzumaki clan. So yeah, it's why your father kept quiet, because otherwise he would have had to have actually also pretty much married at least maybe 3, 4, 5 girls, and all of them have children. So yeah, it's either pretty much you kind of stay quiet, though will obviously also tell your sensei, and he'll probably, I would tell him obviously the risks of the higher ups known, but he should obviously know already. He should somewhat know that already. And well, as you've probably somewhat know, right? Yeah, he's got a Sharingan in his right eye. I think he's right eye. Yeah, I think it is. It's either his right eye or his left one. I think it's his right eye. Yeah. But just somewhat none go well. He can somewhat train you, obviously, in the Sharingan, and just help you. Help you just understand the Sharingan and that. So just nod should go though. How do I exactly activate it? It's like, oh, that's a simple send chakra to your eyes. That's all. Yeah, though. Well, yeah, can you somewhat do it now so you can somewhat see, say, how many tomo in your eyes? Tomo? What are they? Well, in the Sharingan Dojutsu, there are three stages, or maturing steps. So the first stage is 1 tomo in each eye. The second stage is 2 tomo in each eye, and the third is having all 3, the final. Which is, if you have 3 tomo in each eye, it's the fully matured stage. And and tomo, they're just like an odd, somewhat symbol in the eye. You'll see it when you activate. Well, not when you activate it, but when you have activated your eyes and you look in the mirror, you'll see the you see the tomo thing in your eye, in your iris. So just somewhat nod. So my eye will pretty much go red with black, with black odd looking symbols. So, oh right, yeah. Well, yes, the Tomo are the odd-looking symbols. Okay. And yeah, should somewhat close eyes, and with channel chakra to them, I should somewhat feel a bit of pain, but then it quickly go. I should open them, as they would all somewhat gasp. As should go. What is it? As they would go. You have the two Tomo. You already on the second step, huh? How? Well, on your, what exactly happened on your, say your first C rank mission? As should then go and explain to them what happened. As they would go, that well of power, say, you felt coursing throughout your body. Yeah, that was the 9,000 chakra you felt coursing through you, and I think that merged with the Sharingan to give you the second stage. It's a more efficient stage, pretty much. Yeah. You should just go. Okay, so I pretty much just got a head start. Yeah, you can look at it like that. But yeah, we'll tell you, Sensei, and yeah, though, he'll probably have a talk with you. Though I'd suggest also doing somewhat of your own research on, say, on the Sharingan itself, and learn, obviously, all of its abilities, because, knowing what your eyes can do is, very useful. A very useful thing to know. And, after somewhat explaining a bit more, they would leave. And some soldiers end up, obviously, then go to bed, as it was night. As they'd gotten back not really that long ago. And yeah. And so somewhat just go to, should obviously have a bath and that. And should go to sleep and should wake up in a odd place. Should look around and would wonder where she was. Should think, is this a dream? Or what? Where am I? Why would I be in a odd place like this? As it's a nice, field with mountains in the distance and trees, not too far away, and what I could possibly see maybe as the ocean, again not too far away. But yeah, why did I dream of this? Should just do somewhat, then should hear a voice, and she'd somewhat follow it, wondering just what, where she was. Maybe, obviously she'd pinched herself and she'd felt it, so she'd asked the voice where she was, because she had to be somewhere. She was either awake or in a very immersive dream. So she'd eventually start seeing a mountain, as she'd keep on walking in that direction, as then after a while she could start making out the colour. As from far away it was somewhat just a little, say, kind of blacked out, because it's in the shade, and it was just in the somewhat shade, so she couldn't really see it properly. Though as she got closer and closer, she could eventually make it out, and would somewhat realise when she was close to it that, you know, the voice was actually coming from this odd coloured hill. Well, not hill, possibly mountain. She didn't know it was massive though. Though she obviously, as I said, would realise it was the Nine Tails, as she could make out almost 8 separate lines, and would count in between them and realise it would equal to 9. As then she would go, "Where are you?" As it would open its eyes and look at her and go, "Yes, I'm." As you people call me the Nine Tails. As she'd go, "Where am I?" "Well, I'm sewed inside for you, so where do you think you are?" "I'm inside the sill." "Well, no, you can't exactly be inside the sill. We're inside your mind." In my mind? How?" "Well, I brought you here. This is what you'd call your mindscape. Everyone has one, but not everyone can enter it. Only people like that have mind reading abilities, or that are aged in Cherokee, can somewhat enter their mindscape." So you just somewhat go, okay, so I'm in my mind, or hit my mindscape. Well, my mind, or an area of my mind which is called the mindscape, right? Yeah, we'll go with that. So just go, okay, so I'm guessing you brought me here. That I did, so why? Well, to be honest, I just somewhat wanted to speak to you, really, and hopefully you maybe, so like if you're willing to make a deal with me, and what deal would that be? Well, as you now know that I didn't exactly kill your parents, but more so gave them really only your mother a foster death. Yeah, so what is this deal? Well, you'd get access to my chakra, though you'd need to train in it so you don't lose control, but I would say help you in controlling my vast amount of chakra. So you'd gain that, and in return for access to my chakra, I would only want, say, access to your senses, so sight, sound, touch, smell, and pretty much 5 basic sense, like all your senses. So I could hear the world, see the world, even somewhat, feel what you can feel in that. Because somewhat, obviously, I've been through, now my 3rd one. I've been locked up for around 230-40 years now. Your mother's, and I'm not saying your mother was in her 20s, early 20s. So, yeah. And, well, yeah. I've been locked, and I know my other tailed beast brethren and sisters have been locked up for a lot longer than I have, but well, yeah, it's somewhat at least been nice to be able to see, the outside world, and obviously you get, the bigger benefit, but also I guess the benefit we both somewhat get is having someone to talk to when we're either bored or just need to talk to someone. More so that need would probably fall to, like, say, you needing to talk to me about stuff, but yeah, you would always have someone to talk to. I would be able to talk to you, and you'd be able to talk to me about really anything. After all, I'm 1,000 years old. I'm not getting any younger. So why not? Should just somewhat blink and go. But why do I want your chakra, though? I've got my own. Well, in the future, I guess you could. Well, maybe sometime in the future you'd need it, because obviously you'd be a ninja. You'd eventually possibly end up fighting other tailed beasts. Not tailed beasts, but Jinchuriki, and they could possibly possess the ability to use the tailed beast's chakra, be it by force or the tailed beast willingly give it to them. And well, if you don't say learn how to control mine, well, yeah, then you'd pretty much would be dead. Sure, your Uzumakis can do insane things with sealing jutsus, but you haven't really gone down that route. You're obviously sure you may possess the eyes of the clan I hate. Why do you hate the Uchiha clan, may I ask? Well, it's because it's why I was sealed inside the first place. Murderer, and he had used those blasted eyes to control me, to put me under a genjutsu that I couldn't break out of. He'd forced me to attack to pretty much use me against his brother. And not his brother, his friend, maybe his best friend, or used to be, or as you know, the first Hokage. But of course that failed. And though I ended up being sealed inside of Mito because of that. And then there comes my so-called attack on on your village, which was due to a fake murderer putting me under the genjutsu, the exact same genjutsu, and forcing me to attack the village. That's why I hate those damn eyes. Should just go. I see. I should go. You don't have to worry about me using them. It's like, I could. Well, as long as you promise to at least never use them against me, to never say try and put me under a genjutsu. Of course not. No. Well, if you're gonna let me use a chakra, then no, I promise you that I will never use my eyes against you. Or as long as you as long as you're not a threat to me, then I'll never use them against you. Is that fair? Kurama to somewhat think it over for a bit, but then go, that's fair. There's two things you need to know about me first. Okay, and what are they? Firstly, I'm female, and secondly, I forgot what the second one was. Obviously, the second is that I have a name, and that isn't Nine-Tails or the great and powerful nine-tailed fox or some random stuff that you humans have come up with. My name, my actual name, given to me by my father, is Kurama. Naruto just blink and go, you have a father? Us tail beasts, us tailed beasts somewhat, I guess, have a father. He made us, and should then tell Naruto the story of how pretty much her and the other 8-tailed beasts came into existence, and somewhat why they did. As Naruto goes, after the explanation, Naruto goes, so if anyone were to come looking for me to say, more so say after you, and they do confirm that, if I ask them, then I should pretty much get out of there or try and kill them. Well, I don't know, they'll probably be, I guess, what your ninjas would call S-rank ninjas. They would be extremely strong and powerful ninjas, thus you'd also need to become extremely strong and powerful. The Sharingan does somewhat help, but that, though, you're going to have to master that. I am, luckily enough, you know how I said my father, the Sage of Six Paths, Kurama Otsutsuki, that he had the Rinnegan, right? Well, yes, he originally actually had what was called the Sharingan. He did? Yes. It's the Sharingan, he'd woken up one day and had somewhat just channeled chakra to his eyes, like what he'd called ninja, and channeled it to his eyes, and had realised, his eyes would change from their natural colour to red with a single tomo in each eye. He'd trained with it, and he got a second. He trained more and got a third one. And after somewhat witnessing, obviously, say, some of humanity's darkest somewhat times, he had his eyes had, after witnessing some of humanity's darkest times, his eyes had changed. He'd realised if he channeled more chakra into his eyes, he would he'd awaken a form that didn't exactly have at least a name during his time, but what the Uchihas call the Mangekyo Sharingan. It's a better version of a Sharingan. And after mastering that, he then had to fight his mother, as his mother had gone and absorbed the pretty much tree that the chakra fruit came from. She'd absorbed that and became some of the rabbit goddesses, and after learning that her son was going around teaching ninja to people, or how to use it, she had went mad, ravaging, just turned beast, and thus obviously born the 10 tails. And he'd then gained the Rinnegan, and he had told us on his deathbed that that the Rinnegan pretty much had, well, would require two people, his two, say, sons. And well, what I mean by that is that if his first son, the person that made the what's now called the Uchiha clan, say had a female, or well, say had a male, and the second son, the son that would make the Senju clan, and its sister clan, the Uzumaki clan, if they had, say, a female and they got together, that child would have the ability to awaken the Rinnegan. Right. And well, so yeah, I do know all the abilities that the Sharingan wields. I somewhat know of the Mangekyo, though as I'd somewhat went through, obviously living through history, I'd learnt that the Rinnegan, no, not the Rinnegan, the Mangekyo Sharingan had one ability was always personally tied to the user, and as such, so there'd be two abilities that the Sharingan the Mangekyo would have. The first one would be the ability to create a pretty much what they would call a Susanoo, a pretty much just giant, pretty much armor. Well, yeah, just like a giant being of armor that you can control. That will go okay in the second. That's the ability to control black flames. Yep. To control black flames. Huh. I thought it would have been something else. Yeah. But yeah. Though obviously like on the Mangekyo, every ability is somewhat different, though. Well, yeah, there's also somewhat what is called the Eternal Mangekyo. What's that? Well, I don't really know. I don't actually know really anything about it. Okay, but your father may know. Well, I think father did somewhat know, and obviously Minato, when he died without eyes. He'd summoned a frog that, the Sharingan actually let him do that, and frog, he'd ripped his eyes out, and the frog had a somewhat jar of fluid that would preserve his eyes, and so, I'd presume that he would, have some type of, obviously, ray, so a frog, he had a frog summon. I don't think that's ever, I think it's Toads, Toads, but yes, the Sannin, the Dryer, the one of three legendary Sannin, yes, he was your father's mentor, to what I could get from when I was pulled out of Krishna. I'd managed to get a bit of some information about the current era, which was 12 years ago, pretty much 13 years ago. And should just go. But yeah, I think that your father would most definitely have some type of thing, and the toads would most definitely know. So I have to find this. So I have to find the rind removed. Well, I guess the first place you could ask would be the Hokage, whoever that may be. It's like, Gigi. Who's this Gigi? Sorry, I meant, Hiruzen. So the old bat took up the, he took the hat then. What do you mean, though? Miley's, just whatever. I don't need to explain. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah. So all you need to do now is just fist bump me. You won't really feel anything, but for me, I'll be able to finally sense the outside world. Though I know currently you're in bed asleep. So wait. So how do I leave? Well, because your body's asleep, you'll just have to sleep here. Once you fall asleep in here as well, you'll end up waking up when it's morning, okay? So just go, okay, and fist bump with the Nine Tails as should go. So when should I start training in your chakra? Well, there's no real exactly great time, considering you'd have to go to a place that's either very far away or know enough sealing jutsu furin jutsu to be able to make chakra suppressing seals. But don't they? What? No, not those specific chakra suppressing tags. What I mean by seal, as in, like, you'd place 4 of them in a square or a rectangle, and it would erect a barrier that would suppress, like, any, it pretty much silence that, area off from chakra. In other words, what I mean by that is, obviously you can still use, chakra inside that barrier, but outside, anyone outside would not sense any chakra, from, where the barrier is. And that would be the best way to obviously train my chakra, because no MD would be able to feel it and you'd be safe. I guess so, but no, kid, you can't buy them. You'd have to make them. Well, okay then. Well, I guess I found my way to how to deal with killing. I guess if you want to get into Funjutsu, though, it's up to you, kid. So just go. Yeah. Well, if it's somewhat my Uzumaki heritage, or my mum was good at, then, or clan was good at, then yeah, I'm at least give it a try and see if I'm any good at it. Gonna just somewhat nod and go, well, okay. And yeah, that's where I'm gonna end it, guys. So if you have enjoyed this, tell me in the comments down below. If you want to have a part 4, or I don't know, just tell me in the comments down below if you want a part 4. And yeah, guys, stay safe, have a good day or night, depending on when you're watching this, and whenever you're watching this, and yeah, good. Bye.